All right, are you a prepper? Do you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? Because we could have the power shut off, we could have food problems, we could have banking problems, we could have any sort of problem. In fact, right now, we've got stock market problems. Folks, it is crazy. It's been a wild, wild day. And I see both good and bad in all of this. Good for people who are aware, so you can be prepared up here with your plan. It's bad to be caught unawares, to not be prepared, to not have a plan, to not understand. And that's what this show is about, is not only having food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, but also understanding what's happening and why. So today, huge stock market crash, pain, suffering. But I understand it. I've been expecting it and wondering when it's going to happen. What I don't know is how long it'll last and how deep the fall is going to be. I was just talking with Uman and other friends in the afternoon here and basically said, we're at that August, September, October, November moment of 2008, where everything seemed just fine. Remember Benjamin Shlomo Bernanke? The subprime contagion, the subprime is fine. It's everything's great. It's under control. It's contained. Thank you, Benjamin Shlomo Bernanke, for lying to us to our faces, and the stock market crashed in 2008. Here we are, and today the market took a royal shit. It opened up, I think, 1,200 down and closed the day about 1,600 down. 16. This is the Dow. This is the Dow. We just looked at the NASDAQ is down 6, the S&P is down 5, and the Dow is down 4%. Huge single day loss. Huge single day loss. And isn't it interesting how this occurred right after Trump and his big speech and his announcement of tariffs last night? What I want to caution everyone on is this is not Trump's fault. Understand, all of the pieces were set up. All of the dominoes were in a row. And they've been waiting and wanting to fall. They've been propping it up. They've been spinning the plates on sticks. Right? Their little house of cards. They've been trying to keep it going, and it's just not going. Last week, the Bank of Japan was failing. The yen was failing. The yen carry trade was failing. Everything was failing. And I know that some of this is really technical, so I'm trying to keep it easy to understand. Everything was teetering already, and it's been getting worse and worse. So knowing this is going to happen, why don't we fix the problems? Now, the trade war, the tariff war, Trump has taken and put reciprocal tariffs on the rest of the planet. What does that mean? Well, every other country, Japan puts tariffs on American rice and other items. Australia, Canada, England, the United Kingdom, Europe, India, the rest of the fucking world, tariffs the ever-loving shit. In other words, if we want to sell American goods or food to them, they put a huge tax on it so that their people go, nah, I'll pass on the American stuff. And it hurts our business, our trade, our nation. So Trump just made a big step to winning the trade war, right? So many, many nations, Mexico, Canada, I think in India also said, hey, was it South Africa? No. Many other countries. And this is going to be very confusing as they say they're not going to tariff us. They're going to take tariffs away. Then they lie and bullshit. They're fucking politicians. Anyways, multiple countries slash their tariffs against America so that America will not tariff them. And remember, they tariffed us first. We said, we're going to tariff you 50% of what you're tariffing us unless you come down. In other words, make it less expensive for Americans to buy things. Stop hurting us and we won't hurt you. So just keep this in mind. They tariffed the United States of America first, and they've been doing that for many, many years. In fact, Israel decided they're not going to tariff us anymore at all. This is after they tariffed the shit out of us for years and years, and the United States of America gives Israel money year after year after year in the billions and billions and billions. I tell you, folks, sometimes you win the game by learning how bad you were being beaten. So to continue this idea, being prepared also means being aware and knowledgeable. None of us really realized how bad we were being screwed by these other countries until Trump in his first term said, why are we paying nearly 100% to defend NATO, Europe, the North Atlantic? Why are we paying the fucking bill for all of this? And he said, you're going to pay your fair share, Europe. And they're like, no, we're mad at the U.S. They're fucking assholes. All these countries tariffing us, they're fucking assholes. And now they're going to back off and, they're talking big shit. Understand, folks, they're politicians and they're fucking liars. Same with the bankers. Same with the banks. When I say banks, I mean central banks. Bankers are American banks. Financiers are like a JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. All of their investment wings. They saw what happened with the tariffs, and they saw that as an opportunity to unload a shit pile of stocks, cause the market to fall, use that as an excuse to get out from under their short positions, to be able to buy back in when things fall. They've now got huge cash reserves. You see, and one more time, when the stock market crashes, it doesn't go down and all the wealth burns. When it goes down, that means people, or rather banking institutions, financial institutions, and large investors, they sell so much they cause the value to drop. But that money, that wealth isn't lost. They've just taken that money and they just put it in their fucking bank and sit on cash. And as long as the market continues to go down, they'll just wait till it's at the bottom. Then they'll take all that money and they'll put it right back in and buy. So let's just say they had 5% of Apple. They're going to buy back in. They sell their 5% and buy back in. And now they've got 10% of Apple because they bought or they sold high and they're buying back low. We are in for some rough times. This has started. We're at our 2008 moment. We're having our Benjamin Shlomo Bernanke moment. Jerome Powell, I bet he resigns in the next couple of months. But they're looking at, well, you're going to have to start doing some shit here, buddy. Right? By the way, if they do a bunch of quantitative easing, stop their quantitative tightening, start quantitative easing, right? Printing the cash machine. It may pump the stock market up, but it's going to cause massive inflation. It's going to hurt us, the little people. When the government prints money, it never helps the poor. It never helps the middle class. It never helps. We got a trade war. We got a currency war. Folks, we have a resource war that is going on. And that's where we're at. Literally, that's where we're at. Now, let's have some fun with what's going on. Where are my news stories? Here we go. Oh, by the way, get your questions and comments down below. The second half of the show, the inner circle, when we take your questions, I'm willing and wanting to address the multiple things that have gone on today to the best of my ability with my knowledge level or knowledge base, and then try to explain it in a way that I can understand. Because I'm, got all this ability to understand. I'm down here at the bottom. I can just barely understand everything, and it's nice to share ideas with you and get your input as well. It creates a better understanding. Now let's go over to how about some good old fashioned United States of America terrorism. Definitely an SHTF topic. We've all heard about the Tesla vandalization, the Tesla terrorism. It is being orchestrated around the country through various non-governmental organizations, NGOs, a lot of whom, or a lot of which, have received your tax money from the government. So now, get this, right? Everyone is watching. In fact, I parked next to a Tesla today. I went over to the Tesla, looked in the mirror, and gave him a timeout, a T for Tesla, and gave him a thumbs up like I didn't scratch your car. Pretty funny shit. Anyways, today another Tesla terrorist was arrested, dragged out of a movie theater for vandalizing or terrorizing a Tesla Cybertruck. Now, here's my point, because I like to look at things just a little bit from the side. If regular police, run-of-the-mill, regular police, if they can look at some footage and see a little bit of evidence, and if these regular police can see this little bit of evidence and go and catch and arrest Tesla vandals within a fucking hour, instantly, right? This is like instant karma. Why can't Pam Bondi, why can't Kash Patel catch and arrest Epstein clients after 5, 6, 7 fucking years of evidence piled up? Is Pam Bondi retarded? Is Kash Patel incompetent? The police, right? The beat police can catch a Tesla terrorist like that in a fucking hour with this much evidence, a little bit of video evidence. There you go. Crime, go arrest him. Bam, done. Handcuffs, you're going to fucking jail. Pam Bondi has piles and piles, boxes and boxes of Epstein files from Epstein's Little St. James Island. Documentation on top of documentation with videos and film and witnesses and testimony from victims, and they can't catch a single motherfucking client of Epstein's. Think about it. Regular dumbass policeman can stop a terrorist. Pam Bondi has years of evidence. Can't do a fucking thing. Can't do a thing. I want to thank you, Mr. Skylight, keeping me updated on silver, stock market, all kinds of trends that are happening. Folks, it's good to be connected with all you guys. It really is. Now, let us continue if we shall. I wanted to give a shout out there to Mr. Skylight. President Trump. That's right, the big guy himself, right? He does his tariff program, and the rest of the stock market, financiers, money, they're like, fuck it, let's just throw in the chips, cash out, take our cash off the table. Everyone else gets cleaned out by the fucking casino, and the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And if you've got a 401k, tighten your fucking belt. Trump comes out today and fires 3, maybe more, national security staffers, neocons, right? Pro-war, in other words. Pro-war, pro-Israel, pro-Zionism, whatever the hell they are. How did this happen? Well, interestingly, Laura Loomer had an Oval Office meeting with Trump. She's been doing this for weeks now. I've been following her. She has been very vocal and coming out and exposing criminals, fraudsters, communist assholes, traitors. You know what I say? Make Laura Loomer the Attorney General. Make her the Attorney General. She's got the insiders and exposed who they are. Starting with the Signal. Remember the Signal app when a guy from The Atlantic, media jackass from The Atlantic, a journalist, was put on a Signal message with the Secretary of Defense, the Vice President, and several other White House administrators. And he was acting like a spy. Laura Loomer exposed who put him on the Signal app. Make her the Attorney General. And she can go get the Epstein clients. Laura Loomer's been kicking ass. Pam Bondi, in my opinion, is a fucking sellout. And she's a chicken shit loser. And she's covering for everybody on the Epstein list. She's covering for the British. She's covering for Mossad. She's covering for the Europeans. She's covering for Israel. She's covering for Interpol, MI6, the CIA. She's nothing but a stooge for them. Make Laura Loomer that person. It's good to be a deplorable, folks. This country, we're in big trouble, folks. The only way to win this, and I think this is a good way to put it, is to have the fight, to have the war. The only way to fix the stock market is to remove all of the graft, theft, corruption, and filth out of it. All the inside traders, all the naked shorters, right? That includes politicians. The only way to fix any of this is to expose the evil and then fucking arrest them. That's it. I mean, the Democrats today are incredibly, they're beyond ignorant. They're fucking stooges. They're accusing Trump of being unconstitutional, right? He's tearing apart our Constitution. I don't see that. But over in Europe, where they brag about democracy, they're arresting presidential candidates. They're taking presidential candidates off the ballots. They're telling people they can't talk, they can't criticize, they can't expose, they can't complain. The Democrats in Washington, D.C. belong in Europe. They're every bit as bad as these European knuckleheads who have an interesting hypocritical technique. And that is that everything they complain about is exactly what the Democrats, are doing. There's just no doubt in my mind, no doubt at all. Right? They don't like that the money's being taken from them. And like every day, there's court cases, folks. Trump stuff is upheld. Trump stuff is shot down. It depends on whether the judges are Democrats or not. Has nothing to do with democracy, law and order, the Constitution. Everything, and you and I have talked about this for years now, everything is politicized. Now, I like to think that we, you and I, patriotic Americans, are on the correct side of everything. The reason I say that is because I know we try to be on the correct side of everything. When it came to getting the Jim Jones juice, we wanted to be on the correct side of that. Is it safe? Has it been tested? Is it effective? What are the side effects? Does it fucking matter? And what did they tell us? You have to get it. We looked up the law. Actually, we don't have to do anything. They said it's safe and effective. Actually, it's not. Right here. Then they said, you're all going to die. And we're like, can you tell us when it's a busy day. We need to know when we're going to fucking die. You're causing other people to get sick. Well, didn't they get the Jim Jones juice? What are they worrying about me for? You're all going to be sorry. Actually, I'm pretty happy. Right? Trust the science. I trust science, but what you're telling me isn't science. This is what I'm talking about, right? That's just the Jim Jones juice and the cerveza bug, right? They're like, it's the coronavirus. And we look it up and it goes, that's a common cold. It may sound scary, right? The coronavirus, it's a common cold right here in the book, right? You can't have horse paste. That won't help. I'm like, that's funny. Everyone that I know has taken horse paste has gotten better real fast. Now, not only have they said that horse paste is good for cerveza bug, it's also good to stop and kill cancer, get rid of parasites. That parasites inside of our bodies are responsible for a massive number of illnesses, including cancer. We want to be on the right side of things. Being prepared is one of them. I've got a dumbass family member who needs his ass kicked, who says, I don't know why you did all that prepping. It's like, where have you been since 2020, asshat? Right? You like that fucking generator I set your family up with? You like having power when everyone's out? You like having food stacked up and reserved for when you can't get to the store? Now that food is 40, 50, 80, 150% higher, you think the food that you have in there is a good fucking bargain now, smart ass? Right? We try to be on the right side of things. We try and understand. So what is Trump doing? He's trying to get other countries to quit punishing us with taxes. We're trying to bring businesses back into America. Because starting with President Bush and then Clinton, especially under Clinton, and then George W. Bush, and then fucking Obama, corporations have been fleeing America. They made a bunch of money here, and then they started building stuff out of the country and sending it back, sticking us with big old fucking tariffs, but still selling us everything a little cheaper than America can produce it, and screwed us. So now we have, let's see, today, Ford Motor Company announced. Understand this. Ford Motor Company announced that everybody, all Americans, get Ford employee discounts. It's probably a great marketing idea, and it may save Ford ultimately. They'll have a much smaller profit margin, but their sales could go up. Once again, it's a battle to see who can stay solvent, right? Because markets, the economy can be irrational far longer than many people can stay solvent or stay out of bankruptcy, keep your head above water. If this is the 2008 Benjamin Shlomo Bernanke, who was a chairman for the Federal Reserve Bank, which is not a United States bank, it's the Federal Reserve Private Bank. This is the moment, folks. We are now hitting it hard. We hit this moment back in 2019, September of 2019. We had a huge banking crisis, and they kept pumping it full of money, pumping it full of money, pumping it full of money. They've been playing that game, folks. We've been in a currency crisis since 2010. When they first started doing quantitative easing, which is in hyperinflationary money printing. And they've been trying to keep everything balanced. They nearly lost it in 2019, which is when I said the banking system has failed. And it went on life support and has been teetering ever since. And it was just about to fall off the cliff, and Trump has done his tariff thing, because someone's got to take action and fix problems. But the fraud is everywhere, in government, in business, in finance, in the monetary system, around the world. And this market collapse today, 4% on the Dow, 5% on the S&P, 6% on the fucking NASDAQ. Gold came down $40. Let's see, today is Thursday. It's right where it was on Tuesday now. So gold lost 2 days, and all the stock market indexes lost 12 months. Gold lost 2 days of value and gain. The stock market lost a fucking year. I think gold is a better value. We're not even going to discuss silver because I'll have to puke. All right, but there is corruption everywhere. There are problems everywhere. It's being exposed. In fact, DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, is continuing to find fraud, bad characters, bad players, a lot like Laura Loomer. Except when DOGE finds things, Pam Bondi does jack shit. When criminals are exposed, Kash Patel does jack shit. Dan Bongino came out and said, just because you don't hear about it doesn't mean it's not happening. Well, just because you say it's happening doesn't mean it fucking is either. Until we see arrests of high-level politicians, financiers, bankers, royalty, foreign asshole agents, until we see the Epstein people being arrested, I'm not fucking believing you're doing jack shit. Laura Loomer shows up at the White House and goes, those 3 assholes right over there that work for you, they're fucking sellouts. They're neocons. They're fucking assholes. They're traitors. They're leakers. And they're fired right then. DOGE today found a Veterans Affairs, right? A VA contract. They were paying $380,000 for minor website maintenance. $380,000 for minor website maintenance. Oh, that wasn't for the year. That was for 1 fucking month. 1 month. This is obvious fraud. Make arrests. Make arrests. Oh, and the Epstein list too, please. While you're at it, making arrests at the VA. I can't tell you how many veterans I've talked to for the last 20 fucking years that fight tooth and nail for VA benefits to cover their medical problems that they suffer. Folks, I've dealt with over the last 20 years, fucking Korean War vets, Vietnam vets, Afghan vets, Iraq war vets. They get fucking ignored and told no. The one time I tried working with them, they told me, no, you don't qualify. I was like, you know what? Fuck you people. But they'll pay $380,000 a month for some website maintenance. Jolene does our website maintenance here. Good thing she doesn't charge us $380,000 a month. Holy shit. I'm not going to tell you what Uman charges. I think you know what he charges? A jelly donut. It's like, that'll be 2 jelly donuts for the last 6 months, please. Yeah, this is what's happening, folks. Right? This is what is happening. We get screwed over. I mean, let's just think about it. The regular police can catch a Tesla bandit, a Tesla terrorist in less than an hour. But over in Europe, the police, they've got police over there too. Police have now successfully infiltrated, captured, and have caught one of the world's biggest pedophile networks. Thousands of suspects have been identified as part of this pedophile network. The authorities over there, the police authorities, have raided a child sexual exploitation network that is operating across more than 30 different countries, folks. You know what they did? They distributed illegal child abuse content. But don't worry, the Jeffrey Epstein clients of the world who actually did the abuse to the children, right? Okay, these people that they just caught in Europe in 30 different countries have content on their computers of child sexual abuse. The Jeffrey Epstein clients actually did the abuse. They were the abusers of children, of underage teens, of underage fucking preteen minors, right? The Jeffrey Epstein clients are the ones who are on the fucking film. So don't worry, they're safe. But we caught people who were passing around their videos. That's what the police in Europe have done. So don't worry, the royal family of England is safe. The Israelis are safe. Washington, D.C. politicians, they can relax again. Pam Bondi won't do a fucking thing. Kash Patel is not going to do a fucking thing with this. Don't worry. But if you just want to look at videos of what Jeffrey Epstein's clients do, you're in trouble in Europe. You see what I'm saying? They can catch these people by going in and infiltrating and getting in their network. Pam Bondi has the files on her desk. Doesn't do a fucking thing. Doesn't do a thing. Why is that? Why is that? Well, we know why. We know why, and we know who the players are. The players are the elites of Europe, the elites of Israel, the elites of Washington, D.C., the elites of England, and their secret service agencies like the CIA, MI6, Mossad, and Interpol. They will not arrest themselves, but they will arrest the little people. All right, let's go to the inner circle. I want to see what you guys are interested in. It's Thursday, folks. Hey, that means it's Friday Eve. Okay. Mr. Uman. We've got Robin G wants to start off, and she has a question about tariffs. She says, I understand the need for tariffs, but Trump man shouldn't tell us to buy American-made cars if we don't wish to. I'd rather he told us to wait out the tariffs or automakers need to build a better car. Well, here's where we're at. This is where the rubber meets the road on this, Robin. And I don't mean to be, let's see, how do I put this? I don't want to sound like I don't give a shit. I do give a shit. But he's not telling us to buy American-made cars. He's not telling us to buy foreign cars. What he's doing is he's putting a tariff on foreign-made cars because those countries, from those foreign countries, they tariff our automobiles. So all they need to do is they need to remove their tariffs on us. We remove our tariffs on them, and it's fair. That doesn't mean you have to buy American. If you want to buy a Mercedes or an Acura, Lexus, some foreign luxury car, or hell, any car for that matter, Volkswagen, they're all going to have tariffs on them, right? I don't think anyone's going to buy a Faguor. But yeah, you can buy them. You're just going to have to pay the tariff. And this is, I think, where you and I are at an advantage. We're at an advantage. And this is how I describe the advantage, is you have an option at this point. Like I said, you're not being told you have to buy an American car. You're being told that there's not a special tax on an American car. The advantage is you can choose to pay or not pay taxes when it comes to tariffs. By not making the purchase of a tariffed item, you don't pay taxes. Or by not buying any product, you don't pay taxes. When it comes to, say, the income tax, you don't have a fucking choice. They tell you you're going to pay and you have to pay. The reason I like the idea of the tariff is I have an option not to pay. And if I really want something, then I have to be willing to pay that tax. But because we've been getting screwed as a country, but because we haven't had tariffs on everyone else's items, they've been getting away with screwing us through the back door. And I guess that actually plays out in more than one way. We're getting ass fucked by these other countries that are making a boatload of money off of us but we can't make money off of them. One of my fears is there's going to be tariffs on foreign items, and we're still going to have to pay an income tax on top of tariffs, right on top of royalties and every other fucking thing they want to charge us. I don't, that's my fear is that we're going to be stuck with additional taxes, like having a gas tax, a sales tax, a state income tax, a federal income tax, plus tariffs, right? I'm afraid they're going to add more and not take any of the other things away. I'm glad Florida does not have an income tax. And now they're talking about in Florida removing or giving a rebate on property tax. But the tariff at least it gives you the option. If you don't like American cars and the way they're styled, if you think they're not durable enough or high enough quality, I think that can be resolved also. Instead of buying a Ford, you buy a Lincoln, right? Instead of buying a Chevy, you buy a Cadillac. And that's the way it goes. Now, when it comes to cars that are manufactured in this country, a lot of foreign automobiles have factories in America. I believe Toyota does. For a while there, Dodge, Chrysler, Daimler was making, because they bought Mercedes, and they were making Mercedes automobiles in this country. So you can buy what many of us will see the logo, right? You see Mercedes or you see Toyota, and you think of that as a foreign car, but they're actually made in this country. I know that you're not a bunch of granola eating liberal fucks, but yeah, Subarus are manufactured here in this country as well. It just comes down to how much do you want to pay, right? You can't buy a Yugo and expect to get the performance of a Volkswagen. You can't buy a Ford and expect to get the performance of a Lincoln, right? Or the quality levels. At least that's not how it's supposed to be. But that's where we're at with this thing. This tariff thing, it's not going to go away. The shit hitting the fan, it's just not going to go away. This stock market crash isn't just going to resolve itself in a day or two. The stock market is not the economy. The stock market is where money goes that you have in addition to what it takes to pay your bills. So, you pay for your house, your car, your food, your family. And if you got any extra money, right, that goes into your stock market. So just pumping a bunch of money in the stock market doesn't help our jobs, our cars, our homes, or our families at all, because that's just retirement. So the stock market's going to take a shit. And if you're trying to retire, you just retired, you hope to retire in the next few years, right? It's going to be a very bumpy and dicey ride. I expect gold in the next couple of weeks. It held up well today. I expect gold and then silver to follow, and many commodities also to start taking off. They have what they're calling a capital rotation, and that is money is going to pull out of stocks, and it's going to go to where it is most needed and most, shall we say, favored and appreciated, which is commodities. You can't eat computer chips, but you can eat food. Right? It doesn't do any good to have a computer if you don't have electricity, so we need energy. Right? And there's just commodities you have to have. We need rare earths, we need oil, we need uranium, we need silver, copper, zinc, and even lead, right? For more than just bullets. Anyways, the whole tariff thing, let's continue to watch it and understand. But I really pray that you're ready up here for what's coming. We're ready up here, and shit, we haven't even touched on World War III. China doing patrols, Coast Guard patrols around the island nation of Taiwan. China doesn't own Taiwan, but they're treating it like it's an island nation that they own. So there's a lot going on, folks. The best thing you can do is food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, your means of self-defense, but an awareness of what's out there, right? Like what happened with the stock market, I know was going to hurt me, but I was prepared for it. It's going to hurt the economy. I'm prepared for it. It's going to hurt my local economy, real estate. It's going to have an impact on the way I live. I'm prepared for it. I got the bunker buried nice and deep, and we're okay. All right, let's continue if we shall. Mr. Uman, I know we've got a lot to question, and I'm a little bit long-winded today. Uman says the automakers are using the tariff situation to shut down production so they can work down some of their inventory, some of which is over the 365-day supply. Oh, you bet. Let's see. It's January, February, March, April. We're now in April of 2025. I have driven by car markets. There's brand new 2024s. There's even brand new 2023s that did not sell. The automakers, in an effort, I don't know, to stay open, manufactured cars that weren't selling. And that's what Uman is referring to, some of which is over a year old.
Yeah, just to expound on that a little bit, a lot of these cars that they're sitting on are just cars that are too expensive that nobody can afford, or cars that nobody wants. One of the worst ones is that electric Ford Mustang. They think that was over 400-day supply last time I saw somebody reporting on it.
I saw one of those the other day.
I see them every once in a while, very rarely.
Yeah. Cars that no one wants, you're going to have to give them a reason to buy it. It needs to be cheap enough, and it needs to have the what do you call it? The features people want. The trick about buying an EV, man, is you've got to spend about anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 to have a charger at your house that charges them overnight.
Yep. And also to address Robin's situation, another thing with this whole affordability thing is when you got companies like Jeep that decided to take their Grand Cherokee and convert it into a luxury brand and charge $120,000 or more for. If I'm going to spend $120,000, I'm going to go get a G-Wagon or something. I'm not going to go and buy a Jeep for $120,000 when I could buy a nice Mercedes or other brand SUV.
Well, I am not going to argue with you there.
So, the car makers, they just decided over COVID that, when there were the chip shortages, they prioritized the high margin cars, and there was a big demand at that time. So those things were selling. People got some money and they could afford to, maybe get a little bit of a fancier car than they were planning on with their COVID money. So, but they didn't change that model back. They just decided, we're making so much more money on these high-end cars. We don't need to make those $40,000 pickup trucks anymore. I mean, a baseline pickup truck is running almost $60,000.
What is the Toyota truck? The Hilux that costs, I think, $10,000 or $15,000, and they will not allow them into the country?
Right. It's about $15,000 for a Hilux. Yeah.
I'll go buy one of those if they would let them in.
Sure. Those look like nifty little trucks. I mean, if you're just doing around town stuff, as long as you're not trying to tow too much or, really load it up too heavy. But I mean, for most construction or home improvement type work, those would be perfect.
Right. What the hell there? I think I need a discount camera. Yeah, well, I think that's why Ford is taking their approach. Like I said, I think they're ahead of the curve on this by offering employee discounts as a way to get these higher end cars off the lots out. I mean, they have storage lots where they've got hundreds, if not thousands of cars just parked out in a fucking field or a large parking lot.
Right. And these dealerships are paying a floor plan on those things, which is like a automotive dealer line of credit. So if they've been sitting on these cars for over a year, they can't afford to on their own discount them, because then what they paid Ford for them, Ford technically already sold them. They're considered a sale for Ford as soon as they hit the dealer. So these guys have been sitting on it, and the longer they sit on it, the less they can afford to discount it without losing money on it.
Right. Yeah, it used to be that the auto manufacturers would send cars to dealerships, but the automakers, Ford, GM, Jeep, Dodge, whatever, they still own those vehicles. Now they sell them to the dealers. The dealer owns them, or at least they paid for them.
Yes.
If they don't own title to them. And so now they're on the hook for selling them versus the automakers. So the automakers continue to manufacture, and they called that sales. Right. But yeah, they're too backed up.
And one final point I wanted to add about this was that with the cars being made and tariffed coming in, depending on the number of components that they are purchasing for a car and bringing into this country, that's going to impact every single car made, because there's nobody making alternators or circuit boards or radios for the cars here. Those are all going to get tariffed on an individual basis coming in as well. Yeah. So the tariffs are going to affect everything down the line. It just depends on to what extent.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's America is in a unique position. I think this tariff thing it needed to happen. It's going to happen. It's been happening. It's just official now. I think the problems we're having economically, financially, and monetarily are coming regardless. It's just now we're going to blame everything on the tariffs. Right?
Well, I think it would use a lot of people's minds if they came quick up on the heels of this with some permanent tax cuts.
Say again?
If they came up with some permanent income tax cuts.
Yeah. We haven't seen a whole lot of help there. And we're supposed to be seeing income tax is going to go away, supposedly. The Federal Reserve is going to go away, supposedly. We've got a lot of things we've been promised, and we haven't seen a whole lot. So yeah. I know nothing is solved overnight. And when you go to get on a roller coaster ride, you pay for the ticket up front, and then you get to find out how good the ride is. We're paying up front, and we're going to find out how good the fucking ride is.
Exactly.
What's that, man?
I said exactly.
Yeah. We're going to find out. And here's the deal also, is we've been on this ride, this free money ride, so much of this. And a lot of us are going to get charged on the way out the gate. You're going to find out in order to leave the amusement park, you're going to have to pay a fee. And so, yeah, we're paying coming and going, but now we're going to start paying for it.
All right. I'm going to turn myself off here and we'll get back to questions.
I appreciate it, Oliver. You're awesome, man.
How do I get myself off here? Oh, there we go.
Anyways, this is why I love our channel, folks, because we can bring up all the topics, discuss it, and we've got all kinds of different perspectives to come at things with. I think it helps us paint a more accurate picture of the world we're living in, the reasons we need to be prepared, and helping us to expect and be ready for things that are going to be coming at us. Anyways, let us continue. Man, what's up next topic-wise? And we got Christopher Hole, CJ Flex, pow. Thanks for checking back in, man. And he says they just announced Dubai, the country of Dubai, is making XRP their new method of transferring money. It's going to happen, period. The whole financial system is being changed over. Yes, central bank digital currency, CBDCs, cross-border payment systems. In other words, how does Saudi Arabia pay China for something? How does China pay Saudi Arabia for oil? Right? How does China pay Iran for oil? How does Iran buy food from Brazil? How does anyone buy anything from Russia, since Russia is sanctioned and they're the bad guys? Well, speaking of that, the Trump administration is trying to mend fences with everybody they can, providing they want to play games. We have a 100% ban on Russia, not even tariffs, just a fucking ban. Well, except for processed and finished uranium pellets. But it's crazy. We are having a financial system reset. This is happening. The Great Reset is happening. You could call it the Bretton Woods moments are coming. So after World War II, fucking Europe was trashed. China and Japan were trashed. The financial system was in chaos. The entire continent of Europe, from England all the way across over to Russia, were completely smashed financially. Northern Africa, of course, the Middle East, and yes, China and Japan were completely trashed. So they had to come up with a way. How do we settle debt? What is going to be the currency we use to pay for debts with other countries and how other countries pay us? And that was called Bretton Woods. They came up with a gold-backed dollar. The dollar became the world reserve currency. And then in 1969, the French realized the United States of America was printing way more money than they had gold to back it. So France said, fuck it. We're sending boatloads of money, cash, over to the United States of America to what's called the gold window. And they got gold in return. And then Nixon was like, ruh-roh, we got to stop that. So we put a stop to it in 1971, temporarily closed the gold window, and we went on the petrodollar system. You could call it the military dollar or the war dollar. And you use the US dollar and we'll protect you. Right? It's basically a fucking financial monetary protection scheme. And we bet on that. But now the dollar is not just the war dollar. It is a weaponized monetary instrument. If you understand the legalese and legalisms in that. And people are saying, you know what? You want to sanction us? That is a financial monetary war. Fuck you. And so Russia is no longer buying U.S. bonds. That's what they do. They don't buy dollars. They buy T-bonds, treasury bonds. Finances our government. They get money. Everyone trades. But now they've had it with that, right? Because, well, if we can sanction and cut off Russia and confiscate their money, China's like, we don't want any of that. Other countries are selling back their T-bonds, treasury bills, bonds, whatever you want to call them. And so, well, what are they going to pay with? Well, they need some sort of electronic transfer. And so XRP is being looked at. Other cryptocurrencies or stable coins, how are they going to do this? That's where we're at. We're in the middle of how do we do that? As far as I'm concerned, for us in our country, the dollar is already a central bank digital currency because cash is not very common anymore. And everything is electronically controlled and transferred. Right? If you actually had a handful of cash and you took it to a bank, they log it in and then they give you a computerized slip and go, there's your money. Right? It's already digital. So now they need digital cross payment. How are you going to take care of things in Dubai with the Dubai peso versus the Chinese yuan? Two different currencies. How do you know what each one is worth? So those are the systems that are coming up. It is going to be a brave new world for currency. As far as I'm concerned, the safest currencies on the planet are gold and silver. Because even when there's a stock market crash, collapse, hiccup, if you will, like today, that is still 1 ounce of silver. I lost none of the ounces, regardless of what they say the dollar is worth, or the peso is worth, or the euro is worth, or the Japanese yen, right? Regardless of what they say they're worth, that's still an ounce. Now, we're going to have troubles, folks, right? You jump in a pool, you make a bunch of waves. You face one way, you get hit with a wave coming from different directions. The best thing you can do, in my opinion, again, is be prepared as preppers, right? With all the things we like, but being prepared up here and understanding what's going on. So now I think we're all going to see the advantage of how we have been here day after day with each other for fucking years talking about this, being prepared, understanding the social impacts, the political impacts, the monetary, financial, military impacts. Now we're going to start feeling it, folks. And like a visit to the proctologist to find out if you got cancer, whether you got cancer or not, someone's getting some fingers in your ass and you ain't going to like it. So that's how I see it. It's not going to be pretty, right? It's not going to be pretty. Ooh, man, I tell you, he turns 3 shades of red. Okay, let's do it. Let's have another question. We've got just a few minutes left. This hour has flown by. Redneck Roughneck checks in. He says, the demon rats keep calling Trump and Elon oligarchs, meaning they're billionaires that control the world, right? Meanwhile, the real oligarchs are sitting in seats in Washington, D.C. They got rich off the taxpayers' dime and dollar and our blood. Oligarchs. Trump is not, I mean, he was already a billionaire when he took office. The Democrats will play this game. This is an old hand that they're playing, Redneck. And it's the rich versus the poor gang or claim, right? It's wealth envy, right? Hate the rich guys. And so the Democrats are acting like they're poor. Meanwhile, lying hauntess Elizabeth Warren, Nancy, I'm too fucking drunk to walk straight Pelosi, up Chuck Schumer, AOC, name them. Every last fucking politician in D.C. has increased, at least the ones I've seen, their portfolios, their value, making $150,000, $200,000 a year, which I think is way overpaid for what they do. They worked 2 fucking days this week and did nothing anyways. But they turn a decent middle class income, $150,000, into millions and millions of dollars. And then they want to call Elon Musk an oligarch. Elon Musk is exposing fraud, waste, theft, abuse, corruption, bribery, money. That's what he's doing. All he's doing is exposing the crimes, exposing the theft, exposing how we're getting fucked. Right? He's exposing that. He's not getting rich off of it. In fact, Tesla has been taking a shit since Trump was elected and Doge, right? To talk about Elon Musk getting involved, right? It's gone down. Of course, Dan the man, he bought it at a low, but shit, who knows what it's doing today? I haven't even looked at Tesla today, stock market value, but you know, Elon Musk could spend $1 million a day and it wouldn't affect him at all. I don't see him making money off this. He's risking his life, his family, and his fortune doing what he's doing. Same with Trump. At his age, bro, what are you doing, man? Should be on a fucking beach somewhere with Melania sipping fucking pina coladas under a fucking tent, listening to fucking cool-ass beach tunes and watching your kids and grandkids play in the fucking water. But no, he gives a shit about the country. Meanwhile, these lying sacks of shit, the Democrats, are going to complain and bitch about him, claiming they're trying to ruin America. And the fucking Republicrats, Tesla's down 5.5% today. Ouch. Fuck. The Republicrats in Washington, D.C., they're playing the 3 monkeys. I don't hear nothing. I don't say nothing. I don't see nothing. Right? They aren't doing jack shit to solve the fucking problems. They're letting the Democrats accuse Musk and Trump of everything while they do jack shit. They've got all kinds of power and they won't do shit. They could remove these judges. Nope. Maggot Mike Johnson. Maggot Mike Johnson decided he's going to take the fucking week off without passing the SAFE Act to protect our voting, without getting rid of these fucking judges who are ruling by fiat, which means fake. Their Article 3 constitutional authority is overstepping into Article 2, the president. It's a serious violation. It's insurrection. It is, it's criminal, in my opinion. Criminal. Fucking criminal. In any event, folks, here we are at And where we're at, the end of the show. Mikey G says, timing the bottom is hard. Timing the bottom is hard. We haven't got there yet, folks. We got a long way to fall. So get some padding under your ass and get some prepping in your home. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Power could kick off. They could punish us. False flags can come. And I know a lot of people say, man, John, if they made those arrests, if they went after those Epstein people, they'll kill the power, they'll stop the food, they'll do a cyber attack, they'll do a nuclear attack, they'll start a war, they'll punish us for it. Oh, so what you're telling me is we're being extorted and having to let them continue to be fucking criminals and child rapists and thieves and everything else? Or do we want to stand up and, like I said, pay for the ride? You're going to pay later. You pay now or you pay later. I would rather pay now and get it over with and have the fucking fight. That's just me. Make the fucking arrest. At least we would have a just, honest world rather than pretend to be wealthy and rich as a nation when we're morally bankrupt and we're going down anyways. Kind of like being on the Titanic. Just because you hear the band playing music, right, doesn't mean everything is okay, right? In fact, they're playing the music very loud to try and distract us from hearing the fucking ship sinking and cracking and coming apart. In any event, that's all I have for analogies. I'm all out of analogies. Chance favors the prepared mind. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. And we got a whole lot more of a shitstorm coming. So please get ready. Be prepared. Up here. Semper Fi. God bless America. And God bless everyone who loves freedom and liberty. Get prepared now.